The Eiffel Tower was designed by Leonardo da Vinci in 1482. That's a hallucination. The AI just made that up. Leonardo da Vinci died in 1519, almost 400 years before the Eiffel Tower was built. For years, this has been artificial intelligence's greatest weakness. When AI invents facts, when it hallucinates, we call it broken, unreliable, dangerous. But what if we've been looking at this backwards? In January 2025, scientists published something extraordinary. They took GPT-4, the same AI that hallucinates about Leonardo building the Eiffel Tower, and asked it to hallucinate about molecules. Not to be truthful, not to be accurate, to dream, to invent, to make logical leaps no human would risk. And here's what happened. The hallucinations worked. The AI generated novel drug combinations that, when tested in the lab, actually killed cancer cells. The greatest flaw of artificial intelligence might be its greatest power. This is the story of how scientists turned a bug into a feature, how errors became hypotheses, and how the future of scientific discovery might depend on teaching machines to be wrong in exactly the right way. Let's start with the problem. You've probably used ChatGPT. Maybe you asked it to write an email, explain a concept, or plan a trip. Most of the time, it works brilliantly. But every once in a while... User: who won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2024? AI. The 2024 Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to Dr. Sarah Chen for her work on quantum entanglement teleportation. Except there is no Dr. Sarah Chen. Quantum entanglement teleportation wasn't what won the prize. The AI just made that up. This is a hallucination. Large language models can generate plausible but factually inaccurate or unrelated content, a problem that raises concerns about their reliability in real-world scenarios. But here's the strange part. When humans make things up, we call it lying or misremembering. When AI makes things up, we call it hallucinating. Why? Because AI isn't trying to lie. It doesn't know truth from falsehood. Large language models, LLMs like GPT-4, work by pattern matching. They've been trained on billions of text documents. They learn statistical patterns. Which words tend to follow other words? When you ask GPT-4 a question, it's not searching a database of facts. It's predicting. Given everything I've seen, what words would most likely come next? Most of the time, this works. The patterns it learned happen to correspond to reality, but sometimes, especially when asked about obscure topics, recent events, or things that require real reasoning, the pattern breaks down, and the AI fills in the gap with something plausible, something that fits the pattern, something completely made up. It might invent a scientific paper that doesn't exist, a court case that was never tried, a historical event that never happened. In 2023, a lawyer used ChatGPT to research legal cases. The AI cited 6 cases. All 6 were fabricated. The lawyer submitted them to court. The judge was not amused. For years, this has been the deal breaker for using AI in serious work. You can't trust it. It hallucinates. It makes things up. How could you possibly use that for science? Unless... Think about how science actually works. A scientist doesn't start by knowing the truth. They start with a hypothesis, an educated guess. Darwin didn't know natural selection was real. He hypothesized it, then spent decades gathering evidence. Einstein didn't know relativity was correct. He imagined what would happen if you rode on a beam of light, a thought experiment, and built a theory from there. Every breakthrough begins with someone saying, "What if?" And most of those what ifs are wrong. For every hypothesis that gets published, dozens are discarded. For every experiment that works, hundreds fail. Science isn't about being right. It's about generating ideas worth testing. Now here's the key insight. When an AI hallucinates, it's doing something similar. It's making connections between concepts that weren't explicitly in its training data. It's extrapolating beyond what it's seen. It's imagining. A hallucination and a hypothesis are structurally the same thing. Both go beyond known facts. Both make claims that might be false. Both require testing to validate. The difference? Intent and validation. In 2024, a group of researchers, including Professor Ross King at Cambridge and Dr. Hector Zenil at King's College London, asked a radical question. What if we stop trying to eliminate AI hallucinations and start using them? Not as automation replacing scientists, but as a new kind of collaboration. A tireless research partner rapidly navigating an immense hypothesis space. They decided to test this with one of medicine's hardest problems, finding new cancer drugs. And what they discovered would challenge everything we thought we knew about AI's limitations. Here's what they did. The research team prompted GPT-4 to identify potential new drug combinations that could have a significant impact on breast cancer cells. But they added critical constraints. 1. Avoid standard cancer drugs. 2. Identify drugs that would attack cancer cells while not harming healthy cells. 3. Prioritize drugs that were affordable and already approved by regulators. In other words, find combinations we haven't thought of yet. Be creative. Take risks. Hallucinate if you have to. And GPT-4 did. Based on patterns hidden in vast amounts of scientific literature, GPT-4 selected drug combinations based on the interplay between biological reasoning and connections no human had explicitly made. Simvastatin, a cholesterol drug you can buy at any pharmacy. Disulfiram, used to treat alcohol dependence. Neither is a cancer drug. No oncologist would prescribe them for breast cancer. But the AI saw patterns. Simvastatin affects certain cellular pathways. Disulfiram affects others. And in the vast network of biochemical interactions, GPT-4 identified a potential synergy, a combination that might, just might, kill cancer cells. Was this a hallucination? Technically, yes. The AI wasn't citing a paper that said, use simvastatin and disulfiram together for breast cancer. It was extrapolating, connecting dots, making a leap. But here's what made this experiment different. They tested it. The researchers tested the AI's suggestions through lab experiments, exposing breast cancer cells to the proposed drug combinations. And it worked. Among the combinations, simvastatin and disulfiram stood out against breast cancer cells. The hallucination was real. The Cambridge study was just the beginning. In January 2025, just a few months ago, researchers at Dresden University of Technology published an even more comprehensive study. They evaluated 7 different large language models across 5 datasets, specifically testing whether hallucinated descriptions of molecules could improve drug discovery predictions. Here's how it worked. Molecules can be represented as text strings called smiles, a kind of chemical shorthand. For example, CC equals OOC1 equals CC equals CC equals C1C equals OO is aspirin. The researchers fed these smiles strings to LLMs like GPT-4, Llama, and others, asking, "Describe this molecule." And the AIs hallucinated. They generated natural language descriptions that were often factually wrong. The researchers categorized over 18,000 beneficial hallucinations into types: structural misdescription, functional hallucination, analogical hallucination, and generic fluff. Structural misdescription. The AI described molecular features that weren't actually there. Functional hallucination. The AI invented possible uses for the molecule. Analogical hallucination. The AI compared it to molecules that weren't really similar. Then they tested whether these hallucinated descriptions actually helped predict molecular properties, like whether a drug would be toxic or effective against viruses. The results were stunning. Llama 3.1-8b achieved an 18.35% improvement in accuracy compared to baseline, while hallucinations generated by GPT-4 provided the greatest average improvement across all models tested. Falcon 3-Mamba-7b outperformed all baselines when hallucinated text was included, and structural misdescriptions emerged as the most impactful type of hallucination. Wait. Let me say that again. The wrong descriptions, the hallucinations, made the predictions better. How is that possible? To understand why hallucinations help, we need to think about what they actually are. Researchers hypothesized that hallucinations can provide unrelated yet insightful information that aids predictions, even when factually incorrect. Think of it this way. When an AI is given only a smiles string, just the raw chemical formula, it has limited context. It can make predictions based on patterns it learned during training, but those predictions are constrained by what it's explicitly seen before. But when you add a hallucinated description, even a wrong one, you're giving the AI more to work with. The hallucination might mention related compounds, hypothetical uses, or structural features that trigger additional associations in the model's reasoning. Hallucinated text provides implicit counterfactuals that encourage flexible reasoning and robust prediction. It's like jazz improvisation. A musician doesn't just play the written notes. They add variations, improvisations, wrong notes that create tension and resolution. Those mistakes make the music richer. Similarly, AI hallucinations add creative variation to rigid pattern matching. They help the model escape local minima in its reasoning. They introduce noise that, paradoxically, improves the signal. But there's a critical caveat. This only works when the collusionations are tested. Humans verify the results. The AI is used as a hypothesis generator, not an oracle. As Dr. Zenel explained, guided by expert prompts and experimental feedback, the AI functioned like a tireless research partner, proposing ideas that would take humans alone far longer to reach. Notice, guided by expert prompts and experimental feedback. The humans are still in charge. The AI isn't replacing scientists, it's expanding their imagination. But we need to be very careful here. Because this discovery, that hallucinations can be useful, could be dangerously misinterpreted. I can already see the headlines. AI hallucinations aren't a problem anymore. Let AI make stuff up. It's actually good. No. Let's be absolutely clear about what this research does and doesn't say. Scenario 1. AI as scientific partner. You ask AI to generate hypotheses for drug combinations. It hallucinates connections between compounds. You test them in a lab. Some work, Most don't. But you've expanded your search space. Scenario 2. AI as medical advisor. A patient asks AI for cancer treatment advice. It hallucinates that Simvastatin and Disulfiram cure cancer. They take those drugs without testing. This is dangerous, possibly lethal. As one research team noted, in scientific applications, the accuracy and relevance of information generated by LLMs are crucial. Methods to improve accuracy and provide citations are critical to build confidence and trust. The key difference is validation. The Cambridge study represented the first instance of a closed-loop system where experimental results guided an LLM, and LLM outputs, interpreted by human scientists, guided further experiments. AI proposes. Humans evaluate. Lab tests. Results feed back. AI refines. This is not let AI hallucinate and trust whatever it says. This is let AI hallucinate, then rigorously test everything. And there are domains where hallucinations remain purely harmful. Legal research. You can't test a made-up court case. Medical diagnosis. You can't test on patients without ethics approval. News reporting. False information spreads harm before it can be corrected. But in hypothesis-driven science, where testing is the entire point, where failure is expected and built into the process, hallucinations might be exactly what we need. Let's zoom out and ask, what does this mean for science? For 400 years, the scientific method has looked roughly the same. Observe a phenomenon, form a hypothesis, design an experiment, collect data, draw conclusions. The bottleneck has always been step 2. Forming hypotheses requires deep domain knowledge, creative leaps, connecting ideas from different fields, intuition. It's the part that can't be automated, or couldn't be. Recent research in 2025 demonstrated that ChatGPT with GPT-4o can generate innovative research hypotheses to address major challenges in biomedical research. In one cardiotoxicity study, GPT-4o generated 96 hypotheses, of which 14% were rated as highly novel and 65% as moderately novel by expert evaluation. Think about what this means in practice. Traditional approach. A researcher spends months reading papers, brainstorming, consulting colleagues. They might generate 5 to 10 viable hypotheses per year. AI-assisted approach. A researcher spends weeks curating prompts and constraints. AI generates 100 hypotheses per day. Humans filter for feasibility and novelty. They might test 50 viable hypotheses per year. 10 times more ideas. Not because AI is smarter, but because it's tireless. It's like the difference between a chess player thinking through positions in their head and a chess computer that can evaluate millions of positions per second. The computer doesn't understand chess better, but it explores more possibilities. Drug discovery traditionally takes years and billions of dollars. The vast chemical space contains more possible molecules than atoms in the universe. Humans can't search that space exhaustively, but AI can generate hypotheses about regions of chemical space that humans would never think to explore. Controlled hallucinations produced viable molecular structures, and moderate hallucination levels produced the most promising results, balancing innovation with chemical feasibility. The results are already emerging. GPT-4 helped identify 6 promising drug pairs, all tested through lab experiments, with combinations like Simvastatin and Disulfiram showing potential for further therapeutic research. Google DeepMind's AlphaEvolve agent discovered a new 48 multiplication algorithm for 4x4 matrix multiplication, beating a record that had stood since 1969. These aren't incremental improvements. These are discoveries that might have taken decades, or might never have been found at all. But here's what's crucial to understand. AI isn't replacing scientists. It's changing what scientists do. Old role. Genius individual has breakthrough insight. New role. Team designs prompts, evaluates AI outputs, runs validations. Old bottleneck. Generating hypotheses. New bottleneck. Testing hypotheses. Old skill. Deep knowledge in narrow field. New skill. Broad knowledge plus critical evaluation plus experimental design. Professor Ross King describes it as supervised LLMs offering a scalable, imaginative layer of scientific exploration, helping us explore new paths we hadn't thought of before. Notice that word, supervised. The AI generates, the human supervises. Humans still need to formulate the right questions, design the right constraints, evaluate biological plausibility, prioritize which hypotheses to test, interpret experimental results, understand mechanisms, not just correlations. We've seen this pattern before with AlphaFold, AI that predicts protein structures. AlphaFold didn't replace structural biologists. It accelerated their work by solving the structure prediction problem, allowing them to focus on understanding function and designing interventions. The future of science isn't human or machine, it's human and machine. As Dr. Zanil explained, this marks a new frontier in scientific research, the capacity of supervised LLMs to propose hypotheses across disciplines, incorporate prior results, and collaborate across iterations. But this partnership requires something uncomfortable: trusting the machine to be wrong. For centuries, we've built scientific institutions around truth, peer review, replication, fact-checking. We punish errors, we reward accuracy. But to use AI for discovery, we need to embrace a different paradigm. Generate errors rapidly, filter rigorously, test systematically. The hallucinations, normally viewed as flaws, became a feature, generating unconventional combinations worth testing and validating in the lab. The greatest flaw became the greatest power. Remember the opening of this documentary? An AI hallucinating about Leonardo building the Eiffel Tower? That's still a flaw when you're asking for facts. But when you're asking for possibilities, when you're searching for connections no one has made, when you're trying to imagine what might be true, hallucination becomes hypothesis. Error becomes exploration. And the machine that dreams might help us discover truths we never imagined. Scientists believe that controlled AI hallucinations could revolutionize drug discovery, potentially accelerating medication development and benefiting healthcare globally. The future of science is being written right now. Not by humans alone, not by machines alone, but by both, together. One generating wild possibilities, the other testing them against reality. And in that collaboration between human rigor and machine creativity, we might just cure diseases, solve problems, and make discoveries that neither could achieve alone. All because we learned to see error differently, not as something to eliminate, but as something to harness. The bug became a feature, and science will never be the same. This is Cosmic Canvas, where even machine hallucinations are taken seriously, because what looks like a flaw might just be the beginning of a new way to discover. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and let your mind wander. You never know what it might find.